Very warm welcome to every participants who are here. So today the session is all about having like healthy benefits on basically nutritional food, like getting our professional and healthy life balance together in one. So over to like our host is Dr. Monali Shah. She's a clinically integrated dietitian and nutritionist with a gut health coach. She takes a holistic approach to nutrition, combining medical knowledge with practical lifestyle guidance to help people build suitable eating habits. So over to her.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I am incredibly excited to be here with the team today. My name is Dr. Monali Shah, and I am a clinical dietitian, nutritionist, and a gut health coach. Over last few years, I have been helping busy individuals to bridge gap between demanding corporate careers and optimal nutrition. But before we speak about nutrition science today, let me make you some things clear. I'm not a rigid lecturer, and nor am I here to ask you to overhaul your entire life overnight. No, I am a firm believer of consistency beats perfectionism, and that movement is medicine. My goal is to give you simple, actionable frameworks like my signature five finger rule that will help you heal your digestion, manage your blood sugar, prevent cravings without counting a calorie. We all know how demanding your work schedules are, and that's exactly why we are mastering the transition desk to dinner today. Let's dive right in. I'm sharing my screen. Think of a typical Tuesday morning. You start your day with best of intentions and you tell yourself, today I am eating clean. But no sooner 4 p.m. hits and your energy crashes down and willpower drops to zero. By 8 p.m., you're already staring at your food delivery app and exhausted, you end up ordering the same heavy meal that makes you feel bloated the next morning. Now, let me tell you something here. This is not lack of willpower. It is rather decision fatigue. After spending entire day making high stakes complex decisions, your brain's nutritional capacity and your brain's capacity to make nutritional choices evaporates by evening. That is exactly what we are fixing today. I am going to show you how to effortlessly transition from desk to dinner without spending your entire weekend cooking. Before we dive in, let's have a quick pulse check. Look at these three profiles on the screen. Each individual is representing with her own strategy to manage her health. The first one is the planner. She plans of utmost perfection but ends up failing. The second individual is a hopeful shopper and an app dependent person. She batch prepares for entire week but owing to same meal pattern, exhausted, ends up ordering food from outside. And the last one is the planner and the skipper. Plans of doing something else and believes in skipping meals to just manage her weight. So, what I want you to do is drop one, two, or three in the chat box that you find relatable to yourself. No judgment here. Let's see who we have in the room. Yes. So we can see three, two, one. Yes, so we can see many twos coming in. I'm sure then there might be many individual who might be experiencing both and finding either all the three relatable as well. So trust me, you're not alone. We are fixing this today. I am going to show you quick fix strategies to balance your meals and navigate past your daily nutritional hurdles. But before we dive in, let me have a check. Can anyone in the room tell me what exactly a balanced plate is or what actually a balanced meal looks like? Can anyone? Okay. And can anyone tell me how do you realistically apply this if you know the concept? So let me simplify this for you. Basically, a balanced plate is a one which is sustainable, endorsing both the macronutrients and the micronutrients. And it is indeed difficult for a normal individual to understand how to execute it in your daily life when your schedules are running busy. So let us go through the hands-on practical how to balance your plates. Okay. When I am saying a balanced meal is one which is sustainable, endorsing both macronutrients and micronutrients, I'm sure many of you are aware and have grown up listening to the concept of macronutrients and micronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, fats from your parents, your grandparents, and relatives. But sustainability is something that needs our attention today. Something is sustainable if it is doable in long run, quick to do, and easy. A meal is sustainable if it is easier to prepare, requiring minimal time, efforts, of course, should be nutritionally balanced, healthier one, and requiring minimal preparation as well.
Dr. Monali.
Hello.
Hi, I'm from IMT Care. There is some request for Hindi language. However, we have some people who are only comfortable in English because we have people across India. So for some points which are very important, can you repeat them in
Yeah,
Hindi?
sure. I will be explaining in Hindi as well as and when important concepts come over the session.
Yes, but don't forget to mention them in English because we also have people from southern parts of India who are only
Sure.
comfortable in English.
Sure. I'm continuing entire session in English. Wherever it is important, I'll explain even in Hindi.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. So now, in order to meet your daily food requirements that align with your busy work schedules, all you need is few pre-preparations on weekend mornings and alongside an understanding of macronutrients, micronutrients, their portions and their combinations. Let us look at how to lay out all the meals of the day. So every time you look at your lunch or dinner plate, all I want you to remember is your hand with your 5 fingers and check for these 5 components. Each finger represents its own component and all together form a part of a balanced plate. Missing on any of these fluctuates your blood sugar levels and causes undesired cravings. So your thumb stands for cereals and grains, your index finger for your salads, your middle finger for your sabzi, your ring finger for your dairy protein, and your little finger for your dals, legumes, and pulses. When I am talking about cereals and grains, salads and sabzi, each of these occupy 1/4 part of your plate, all together occupying 3/4 part of your plate. The remaining for 1/4 part of your plate is occupied by dairy protein and dals, legumes, and pulses. Fats occupy only up to 1 tablespoon of the entire serving. Talking about cereals and grains form the foundation of your diet, and eliminating them starts shutting your body's systemic functioning gradually, pushing it into survival mode. This is the reason why your body cannot withstand diets that run low on carbs, such as the keto diets. So, complex carbohydrates primarily provide carbohydrates to your body to fuel for its essential normal day-to-day functioning and release energy sustainably, keeping you satiated for long, preventing 3 to 4 p.m. energy crashes, and thus helping you keep your moods stable. Salads add bulk and roughage to your stools. Excellent for resolving gut issues, reducing bloating, strengthening digestion, prebiotic in nature, and nourish your gut microbiome. Sabzi forms the palatable part of the plate and provides easily digestible fiber. For individuals who are intolerant to raw salads or individuals experiencing IBS and similar symptoms, raw salads can be swapped with soups. Now, when we speak about these three, next comes a dairy protein. Dairy protein contributes to half of your body's requirement per serve. And this can be sourced from curd, paneer, buttermilk, yogurt, and cheese. The rest half of your body's protein requirement comes from dals, legumes, and pulses. Varying them over a week in rotation ensures that your body gets its all the amino acid requirement from all the variant plant-based food products. Vegans can replace these with soya, vegetarians with eggs, and non-vegetarians with chicken, fish, and lean meat. This simple visual ensures you meet your nutrient needs, stabilize your blood sugar, feed your gut microbiome, all without adding a single core to your to-do list. Whether you love traditional comforting home cooked meals, you are traveling out, stuck at an airport, enjoy exploring different global cuisines, or you are heading out for a dinner with your friends, this simple rules just serves as well. You simply use this as a layout to pick your meals. Now, don't be apprehensive whether wondering is it possible to understand nutrition science in such a short amount of time and still fix your diet. It is indeed. When people hear meal planning, they visualize long hours of chopping on Sunday morning and eating identical sad plastic containers of meals throughout the week. Sadly, they end up avoiding it. This is because the meals are not sustainable. Sustainable is something which can go in long run with your body requirement. Now, we need to move away from perfectionism. Health is not built on 100% restrictions, but simple, consistent habits. This principle framework ensures you meet your daily requirement without counting a single calorie, keeps your energy and focus sustained, and stable energy past 4 p.m. Now, since we have learned constructing a plate, let us now look at the upcoming images on the screen, which I'll be sharing, and try analyzing whether the meals are balanced or imbalanced. You simply have to use the analogy of five-finger rule being applied on your plate, as the screen currently is representing. So your roti or rice, the cereal part, is occupied by the 1/4 part of your plate. The sabzi is occupied by the rest half 1/4 part of the plate. Salad or soup occupies the third 1/4 part of your plate, and the last 1/4 is occupied by altogether the dairy proteins and the dals, legumes, and pulses. Now we are using this analogy and trying to analyze the upcoming slides. So I'm sharing slide 1. You can simply drop your answers in chat box. I'll be sharing the answer immediately. So with that, do you find this image as to balanced or imbalanced? So going as per the analogy of five-finger rule, we have cereal part, we have dal, we have sabzi, and we have salad. But something is missing is dairy protein. So this is imbalanced. Next image. So here we have a vegetable rice with salads and curd, but missing out again on plant-based protein like sprouts, legumes, pulses, or dals. It can be in any form. So this is imbalanced. Now, can anyone tell me, is this balanced or imbalanced? So this is basically a balanced meal. Here we have vegetable curry called sabzi. Then quinoa is served with the lentils, salad, and dairy protein. So yes, it serves the rule of five-finger rule. So this is an ideal balanced plate where everything is executed very cleanly, neatly. Millets, your dal, your sabzi, your salads, and your curd. Okay, so now I will want to explain about this image. This is a vegetable paneer sabzi along with rest of the food that is shown in the display. Now, what do you think, guys? Is it a balanced or an imbalanced plate? Yes, let me check the chat box. Yes, this is balanced because it's a vegetable paneer sabzi along with salads, dal, and roti. So, yes, it's a balanced plate. Hang on, the screen is hanging on and off. Give me a time, I'll reshare it. Yes. Now next is again vegetable curry with some salads, rice and dal. So this is again a balanced plate. This is again a balanced plate because salad is taking 1/4 of the plate. The dal is taking 1/4 of the plate, roti, and provided sabzi is not there, but salad is taken in excess quantity. So fine. But still sabzi needs to be placed. So we rule it out as a imbalanced. This plate again, roti, sabzi, sprouts, salad and curd. So this is again a balanced plate. Again, simply and beautifully executed plate where rice along with the rest of the 4 required meal components, and it is again a balanced plate. This again is simply and cleanly executed roti, sabzi, salad, curd, dal, again a balanced plate. So this explains you don't need any specific rule, but simple your hand and 5 fingers. So if you are using any app that counts your macros, so guys, not really needed. All you need is your hand with 5 fingers, and it is more than enough to help you make accurate choices wherever you are in the world sorted. And this is what a balanced plate should look like. This meal ensures your energy stays stable throughout the day, you don't feel any cravings, and you don't run low on energy, and yes, keeps you going for entire day. These are easier to prepare, quick to prepare. So let us look at the practical part of the session where I'll be guiding you how to prepare your meals in short duration, which should be again balanced, sustainable, quick to prepare and easier to prepare. So this is what it is. Balanced meal planning for busy professionals. This stands firmly on 4 pillars: pantry stocking, grocery management, your time-saving devices, and kitchen hacks. So all these work together in combination, and none of this pillar can be separated from each other. They are interconnected and interdependent. When I'm speaking about balanced meal planning for busy professionals, the word balance is repeatedly reiterated and re-emphasized because we are looking for meals that help to sustain longer. If I simply put it as quick meal plannings for busy professionals or simply meal planning for busy professionals, while your meals are running off balance, you will definitely end up experiencing generalized fatigue, lethargy, mood irritability, deprived cognitive functioning, and loss of concentration, poor concentration, and yes, of course, disturbed sleep. So now let us start with pantry stocking. So pantry stocking is one of the crucial pre-preparations and it depends on rest of the three pillars and all together work in coordination. Uh, Pantry stocking is planning your weekly purchases, analyzing your requirement and consumption ratio. So these purchases should be made keeping in mind six food groups: fruits and vegetables, dairy protein, plant protein, cereals, legumes and pulses, seeds and nuts, and if you're non-vegetarian, chicken, lean meat, fish, and vegetarians can go for eggs. Uh, Purchasing these and storing them in the order of requirement throughout the week, just as to avoid the morning rush or friction, is the key that holds here. So perishable foods should be placed in direct accessibility and visibility. This helps out in many ways. The fresh produce is utilized in earlier days before wilting, prevents food spoilage and wastage, and also helps retaining maximum nutritional value of the food. The drier non-perishable foods should be placed next in the queue so they become approachable once the earlier ones get used. Now, washing, drying, sorting, chopping, and storing these veggies in accordance with their shelf life is also of equal importance. So when you store this veggies retaining moistures should be used up earlier, like the tomatoes and bell peppers. They last for up to 2 to 3 days in fridge at 4 degrees Celsius. Veggies like cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and beetroots, they last for up to 7 days in fridge and they can be used longer. Now, green veggies, they need to be washed and spun dry and stored in cotton muslin cloth to stay fresh longer. So pantry stocking is all about how you sequentially arrange your foods as per the needs throughout the week, which reduces your effort throughout the week and makes your week going easier. Next is grocery management. Grocery management runs efficiently only if the stock is attended regularly. If in case you are unable to attend your stock, the best alternative is to store your perishable and non-perishable foods separately in glass jars with compact lids. This helps you to keep the accountability of foods in on regular basis, and immediate note of foods that are running out can be made. For this, again, keeping a diary handy in the kitchen to keep the note of the ingredients running out is advisable. Again, this helps you from saving and pouring in another time for preparing meals for the upcoming grocery. Now, grocery management needs to be executed in certain specific decided order to ensure smooth and stress-free week. Perishable foods should be used in earlier days of the week and then resorting to the drier grains, millets in the later days of the week. Again, preparing fermented foods at least twice a week is advisable. This ensures the probiotic requirement of your body is met regularly on weekly basis and saves you from the hustle of meal planning in the middle of the hectic week. Again, planning one pot meals at least twice or thrice a week easyfies your work, makes it convenient, and it is a balanced solution again. So once your dinners are sorted, majority of your stress comes down and it gives you courage for preparing the meals for your next mornings as well. So again, when we speak about morning, your breakfast should also be considered here, which should be sustainable, filling, and balanced because they fuel you for entire day. So when breakfast are being prepared, we have to keep into mind again covering all these food groups to keep you sustained up to your next meal. When we are planning breakfast, if your dinners are easier, you can pre-prepare for your breakfast for the next morning. And this breakfast can also be prepared in jiffy with quick fixes and still totally balanced, fulfilling, and keeping you satiated for long and preventing your energy crashes. So, okay, batch preparing your sprouts on weekly basis. This streamlines your workflow for the week and fulfills your daily lunch protein requirement for the foods. And again, this can be incorporated throughout the day. Setting your curds a night prior so that it becomes ready for your use in the next morning. ordering basic ingredients online so as to save your time, effort, and energy. These all food groups can be done and sorted in a pre-decided manner throughout your requirement, as per your requirement throughout the week, and planned accordingly. Now, relying on time saving devices. So, time saving devices are the biggest gifts to humans from the humans. They not only cut short your time but reduce your effort and energy. Say, kitchen electric choppers. So, when you have to chop large amount of veggies, it becomes very easy for you to uh, go through the process when you have electric choppers in your hand. Similarly, preparing and planning one pot meals, which where cooker comes into play. The pressure cooker is the device wherein you season your vegetables, your cereals, grains, pour in all together and close the lid and let it do its job. You can sit back and wait for the time it is prepared. So this reduces your manual hustle and keeps you little stress free. Kitchen hacks are now designed keeping in mind to simplify your job of meal preparing, and they hold the key to reduce your stress and support better nutrition. So altogether, when we speak of kitchen hacks, yes, grocery management, pantry stocking, and time-saving devices all come together into play. Suppose if we are speaking about one-pot meals, so one-pot meals are the ones that can be prepared in one go. They can be your vegetable stew or your vegetable khichdi with dahi, or your biryani raita, or again your millet porridge or your soups. So this can all be prepared in a cooker in one go. For vegetable millet, that can be cooked in a vessel with a covered lid. Now, for when we were speaking about breakfast, what we were looking for was a quick fix for entire day that helps you sustain your energy and as well as is healthier. So you can go for smoothies in your breakfast, your overnight oats as well as muesli that is prepared at home. So yes, smoothies, you put in all the ingredients together in a NutriBlend jar, churn it out, and just grab it. Overnight oats, if your dinners are sorted easily, you can prepare your overnight oats and place it in the fridge. Morning, you just have to simply pull and grab it. That's it. So this is what a easy-fied meal planning should look like. Again, when we speak about fermented foods, so South Indian foods, they not only come into play, but along with them also comes steam cooked dhoklas or steam cooked rice. So all these things where the job of cooking of the food has been taken care of by the utensils or the devices in the kitchen, where your minimal effort is required. This planning has to be kept in mind.
Dr. Manali, can you
Yes.
go back to previous slides? Some slides were missed, right? People just want to see the slides also.
Yeah.
I think some of them were missed to show.
So this was slide number 2.
Also, everyone, we would be uploading today's wellness event on our YouTube channel as well, on IMT Care's YouTube channel. So if you can just process the whole webinar right now, and you can access these screens and the webinar again on our YouTube channel by tomorrow.
Okay.
हिंदी में अगर मैं बोलूं तो ये सेम जो स्लाइड्स हैं YouTube चैनल में IMT केयर के अपलोड होंगी. ये हमारा जो प्रेजेंटेशन है, जो अभी लाइव रिकॉर्डिंग है, सो आप लोग इसको ध्यान से देख सकते हैं. डोंट वरी कि आपको स्क्रीनशॉट्स लेने या कुछ लेने हैं. कुछ बहुत नेसेसरली लग रहा है आप ले सकते हैं, बट अदर देन दैट आप उनको एक्सेस बाद में भी कर सकते हैं हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल से.
This is the slide number 3. And this is slide number 4. Okay. So let us now focus on the nutritional deficiencies that are commonly encountered in busy desk job professionals. So yes, the professionals commonly experience deficiencies in vitamin D, B12, iron, and magnesium. This is due to prolonged indoor hours of sitting, relying on processed foods, or skipping their meals, and owing to high stress jobs and mental workloads, these nutritional deficiencies are common. Now, vitamin D, the quite essential office workers deficiency, is caused because of lack of exposure to sun and sitting indoors for longer times in artificial light, as well as commuting before or after daylight. So this is thrown out in the form of muscle aches, persistent fatigue, lower concentration, and deprived moods. Again, vitamin B12 deficiency. So vitamin B12 is often low in busy professionals owing to, again, same sedentary lifestyle where you grab and go the readily available foods, which often run low in whole foods. B12 is crucial in RBC synthesis and for nerve function and energy. So if you are going low on B12, your body manifests it in the form of tingling in numbness and extremities. Again, your brittle nails, brain fog and memory issues, and chronic fatigue. Individuals that run low in iron show themselves along with dizziness, brittle nails, extreme tiredness, and lingering tiredness and shortness of breath. So, iron is deficient in individuals, specifically in women's, because they rely on quick to go iron poor snacks, again, owing to demanding work schedules, resorting to poor dietary habits. And yes, this is how vitamin B12, iron, and D deficiency comes in. Magnesium is predominantly commonly deficient in desk job professionals because of the sedentary lifestyle and the mental stress that depletes the magnesium. Magnesium is a primary element which helps in your bone health, and sitting long hours along with the desk, it you experience twitching and cramps in your muscles, twitching of your eyes, disturbed sleep, and again heightened stress or anxiety. The list of tests that you can go through to identify and come along these nutritional deficiencies are for vitamin D 25 hydroxy OH, for vitamin B12 serum vitamin B12 test, again for iron CBC and serum ferritin levels. Now for magnesium, there are no specific there is a test, but generally that are not advised on generalized basis, because a vast majority of your body's magnesium is stored inside blood and cells and bones, and a very little amount runs in blood. I'm so sorry. Majority is stored in bones and cells, and a very little amount runs in the blood. So a standard blood test can only reflect the amount of magnesium circulating in the blood, and hence it is not a reliable indicator for overall magnesium status. We look at the food sources of all these vitamins and nutrients and micronutrients. So vitamin D is basically found in fatty fishes, in beef livers, egg yolk, or again in UVB mushrooms, which are mushrooms are the only sufficient unfortified non-animal sources of vitamin D. Again, vitamin D is found is generally is naturally produced by our skin on exposure to sun.
Dr. Monali, there is a request. Can you repeat the symptoms of mineral deficiencies? And can you repeat them in English as well as Hindi?
हाँ, विटामिन डेफिशिएंसी, फॉर विटामिन डी डेफिशिएंसी अगर आपको होता है, योर बॉडी मैनिफेस्ट इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ मसल एक्स, लोअर मूड्स एंड कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड इम्यूनिटी. आपकी इम्यूनिटी लो होती है अगर आपकी बॉडी का विटामिन डी कम होता है, तो आपको मसल एक्स होता है, आपको बॉडी एक्स होता है. वेन योर बॉडी इज रनिंग लो ऑन B12, तो आपको मेमोरी इश्यूज या डिस्टर्ब ब्रेन फॉग जैसे हम बोलते हैं, कंफ्यूजन, लिटिल बिट क्लैरिटी इन थॉट्स, या ओवरऑल एंटायर डे के फंक्शनिंग में जब आपको ध्यान देना होता है, यू आर अनेबल टू कॉन्सेंट्रेट. You also experience tingling and numbness in your extremities when you are deficient in B12. And B12 deficiency ज्यादा करके वेजिटेरियंस में पाई जाती है, because there are very fewer sources of vitamin B12 from plant source foods. So vitamin B12 is again then vitamin iron. Iron deficiency shows itself as fatigue. आपको थकान लग जाती है. You look pale. For iron deficiency, you get exhausted easily and your energy is always low, so you always are lethargic, looking for rest and relaxing yourself. So ये आयरन डेफिशिएंसी के सिम्टम्स है, जहाँ आप हमेशा थका थका हुआ फील करते हो, यू फील ब्रेथलेस, थोड़ा सा काम कर लो आपको थकान लग जाती है. एंड मैग्नीशियम, सो मैग्नीशियम डेफिशिएंसी बेसिकली जिनका बहुत ज्यादा सिटिंग जॉब होता है, सिडेंट्री लाइफस्टाइल होता है, एंड फॉर द इंडिविजुअल्स हु हैव हायर मेंटल स्ट्रेस, मैग्नीशियम डेफिशिएंसी इज सीन. एंड मैग्नीशियम डेफिशिएंसी में इनवॉलेंट्रीली आपके बॉडी के मसल्स जर्क करते हैं, दे लाइक फ्लिकरिंग ऑफ योर आईज इज सीन, दैट इज ट्विचिंग ऑफ द मसल्स ऑफ द आईज. एंड आपकी स्लीप डिस्टर्ब, दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सिम्टम ऑफ मैग्नीशियम डेफिशिएंसी. योर स्लीप इज डिस्टर्ब and you have heightened stress and anxiety. Anything that is not letting you sleep is anxiety. Your mind keeps on running on thoughts, one or the other thoughts, and pre-plannings and preparations. So this is anxiety. ये magnesium के symptoms है deficiency के. विटामिन डी जैसे मैंने बोला, it's found basically in fatty foods, fatty fishes, cod liver, oil, egg yolks, UVB mushrooms, and sunlight. Sunlight is the natural source of vitamin D, wherein your skin generates vitamin D on exposure. At least 20 to 30 minutes of midweek exposure to sun, few days a week is enough. Individuals with darker skin tones need to expose themselves a little longer. Now, vitamin B12, जैसे मैंने बोला, it is very low in plant-based foods, but there are very much list for non-vegetarian sources of foods runs long. For vegetarians, I'm sorry, just a second. For vegetarians, the only fortified source of vitamin B12 is fortified nutritional yeast. A single tablespoon serving of this yeast serves your 100% requirement on daily basis. Vitamin B12 is sourced from clams, oysters, mussels. Again, your beef, liver, kidney. Guys, can we just have a break for a moment? Okay. So B12 is found in salmon, tuna, sardines, and again in chicken, lamb, tuna, milk products like cheese, yogurt, and yes. So these are the vitamin B12 sources from non-vegetarian origin. Now, magnesium-rich foods, like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, nuts like almonds and cashews, bananas, avocados, dark chocolate, spinach. These are all the good sources of magnesium, and these are all sufficient sources that provide magnesium to your body. You don't need to go for magnesium supplements because magnesium can be easily accessed through all these foods. So we've already spoke about preparing breakfast from seeds and nuts like smoothies or overnight oats. So adding your chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, all these nuts, oats, this serves your purpose, and yes, gives you the requirement or the daily required protein from these food sources. Finally, iron. Iron is sourced from two categories, plant-based and animal-based. Plant-based sources of iron are again chicken, fish, tuna, lamb, mutton, seafoods like clam, oysters, and mussels. And the plant-based sources are raisins, dates, figs, spinach greens, moringa, ragi, again poha flakes, जो rice flakes हम बोलते हैं, those poha. So these are all the higher sources of iron. Now, when we speak about all the sources and plant-based sources of vitamin B12, pairing them with vitamin C is advisable to get it easily to make it easily absorbed by body. Animal sources are easily absorbed, but it is difficult for body to absorb and assimilate iron from plant-based sources. So they need to be paired with lemons or amlas or tomatoes so that they can be easily assimilated. So overall, when we go through the food sources of even of all these four main nutrients that the individuals face deficiency in, we realize that it is important you include food from all the food groups, and this overall generalized way supports your body's nutrition. Now, as a nutritionist, when we speak about supplements, is it really advisable to take supplements? So, my core philosophy is optimal health begins from whole foods and nutrient dense foods. So, it is always advisable to get your nutritional benefits from a balanced diet, but in conditions where the physiological requirement of your body is heightened or there are gaps or nutritional deficiencies. Opting for supplements is not inadvisable because it is a clinical and a strategic tool, not a nutritional failure. So yes, supplements in extreme indicated cases are required, say for in pregnancy or in conditions where your body's metabolic system is running low. External support from supplements is always advisable. Now, we have been facing many myths in lately due to owing to social media, and let us burst these myths. So many of you might be thinking whether including staples like wheat and rice on our plate is advisable. Today, let us burst these myths and look at uh, how we can smartly leverage these foods. Let's start with wheat. Wheat is Wheat has earned a bad rapport in wellness trends, owing from brain fog to stubborn weight gain to uh, difficulty losing weight. Wheat gets a really very bad rap. So let us separate food science and internet hype. Wheat causes inflammation and leaky gut in everyone. So wheat, unless you have celiac disease or medically diagnosed non-celiac gluten sensitivity, whole wheat is does not cause inflammation. It in fact is a gut health ally. It contains prebiotic fibers called arabinic xylans, which feed your gut bacteria. So cutting them off obviously triggers your sluggish digestion. Gluten-free alternatives are always healthier. So many processed foods today substitute wheat with gluten-free products like potato or tapioca starch. And to mimic gluten's texture, they are packed with more sugar, fats, and salts while running low on vitamin B and iron. So switching to them unnecessarily means paying a premium for higher nutrients and a higher blood sugar spike the next day. Again, wheat causes a massive spike in blood sugar. So this depends entirely on the type of the wheat that you are eating and how you build your plate. So refined white flour digests rapidly, so it causes a rapid spike in your blood sugar. But whole wheat, like stone ground whole wheat roti, releases releases energy sustainably owing to its native fiber content. So when you pair your grain with healthier fats, proteins, and fibers, you reduce the glycemic load of the entire meal and your blood sugar does not spike. So, wheat does not really cause blood sugar spikes, but how you consume it is the uh, is the real concern which causes blood sugar spikes.
Dr. Monalisha, can you,
Ye-
since wheat myths are quite common, people are requesting if this part and like some common myths can also be explained in Hindi because some of them
Hindi,
are not able to understand.
right.
So in English and Hindi, like you can just repeat them simultaneously when explaining.
Will do. बोला गया है कि हीट से सूजन होती है या लीकी गट होता है जिससे आप स्किन पे इरिटेबिलिटी एक्सपीरियंस करते हो। तो जब तक आपको सीलियाक डिजीज नहीं होती है या आपको कोई ग्लूटेन इनसेंसिटिविटी नहीं है, व्हीट आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं करता है। व्हीट में एक प्रीबायोटिक फाइबर होता है एराबिनोक्साइलिन, जो आपके गुड गट माइक्रोबायोम को फीड करता है, आपका गट हेल्थ स्ट्रांग करता है। तो अगर आप व्हीट को आपके डाइट में से काट देते हो तो ये आपके डाइजेशन को वीक करता है। अगेन बोला गया है कि व्हीट की जगह हम लोग ग्लूटेन फ्री प्रोडक्ट्स खाते हैं, हम ज्वार खाते हैं, हम बाजरा खाते हैं। ज्वार एंड बाजरा इज ऑफ कोर्स नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, ज्वार और बाजरा तो खाना ही चाहिए, पर व्हीट को कट ऑफ करके टोटली नहीं खाना चाहिए। बिकॉज अगर व्हीट को काटा जाता है और व्हीट की जगह जो रिफाइंड स्टार्चेस एंड फ्लावर्स यूज होते हैं मार्केट में, जो क्लेम करते हैं कि ये व्हीट फ्री प्रोडक्ट है, ये प्रोडक्ट्स में इतना ज्यादा शुगर, सॉल्ट और एंड अनहेल्दी फैट्स ऐड किया जाता है दैट इट कॉजेज ब्लड शुगर स्पाइक्स। और ब्लड शुगर स्पाइक्स जनरली होना इज नॉट एडवाइजेबल फॉर योर बॉडी। ब्लड शुगर जितना स्टेबल रहता है उतना आपका बॉडी स्टेबल होता है। जितना ब्लड शुगर क्रैश होता है, स्पाइक होता है, उतना आपकी बॉडी में फ्लक्चुएशंस होते हैं, उतनी आपकी बॉडी बार बार रिपीटेडली कुछ ना कुछ मांगती है। यू फील हंग्री रिपीटेडली, और आप बार बार गलत चीजें खाओगे, आप बार बार हंग्री फील करोगे। दिस इज व्हाट इज wheat should not be cut off। बेसिकली हमारे ट्रॉपिकल फूड्स जो है, wheat, rice, the ones that grow in our land, in our culture, they should never be cut off। these form the staple of our environment, our land and our origin, और इसी पे हमारा बॉडी चलता है। इसीलिए पहले भी मैंने कहा कि सीरियल्स एंड ग्रेन्स दे शुड नॉट बी एलिमिनेटेड, इनको निकाला नहीं जा सकता है, यू कैन नॉट सस्टेन। अगेन, व्हीट कॉजेज मैसिव स्पाइक इन ब्लड शुगर। गेहूं खाने से कभी भी ब्लड शुगर राइज नहीं होता है, मैदा खाने से होता है, बिकॉज मैदे में बिल्कुल भी फाइबर नहीं होता है। व्हीट में फाइबर होता है। और अगेन, आप जब व्हीट खाते हो तो आप अकेला गेहूं नहीं खाते हो। इंडियन फूड इतना ब्यूटीफुली प्लान किया गया है कि आप गेहूं के साथ आप सब्जी खाते हो, आप दाल खाते हो, आप दही या छाछ ले लेते हो। दिस मेक्स अ कंप्लीट प्लेट, और ये आपका डाइजेशन स्लो करता है, और ये सारी चीजें एक साथ कॉम्बिनेशन में आपके बॉडी में ब्लड शुगर फ्लक्चुएट नहीं करती है। इनफैक्ट दे कीप योर बॉडीज स्टेबल, ब्लड शुगर स्टेबल, और आपकी बॉडी एकदम इजीली इसको डाइजेस्ट कर पाती है, और आपकी एनर्जी थ्रू आउट द डे स्टेबल रहती है, तो आपको थकान नहीं लगती है। नाउ यू मस्ट कट आउट व्हीट एंटायरली टू लूज वेट। वेट लॉस कम्स डाउन टू कंसिस्टेंट कैलोरी डेफिसिट। अगर आपको बोला गया है कि गेहूं खाना छोड़ दो और वजन घटेगा, तो ये नहीं होता है। अगर आपको वजन घटाना है तो आपको हर फूड ग्रुप में से सब कुछ मॉडरेशन में लेना है टू लूज वेट। कटिंग आउट व्हीट इज नॉट द सोर्स। अगर आप कुछ खा रहे हो, द रियल कल्प्रिट ऑफ वेट गेन इज, आजकल जो फूड्स हम खाते हैं, दोज आर द रियल कल्प्रिट ऑफ वेट गेन, बिकॉज दे आर हायर इन रिफाइंड फ्लावर, मैदा, जो वो उसमें कैलोरीज हाई होता है, कैलोरी डेंस होता है। वो हायर कैलोरी होने के वजह से आप जो भी खाते हो वो बॉडी में रिक्वायरमेंट से ज्यादा अगर फ्यूल आता है तो बॉडी उसको फैट के फॉर्म में स्टोर करती है। तो अगर आपको वेट लॉस करना है तो आपको सारे फूड ग्रुप्स में से सब कुछ थोड़ा थोड़ा कट करना है, नॉट कि कोई एक पर्टिकुलर फूड ग्रुप को निकाल देना है। योर डाइट शुड बी सस्टेनेबल एंड नॉट throwing out or removing a particular food group। अभी इंटरनेट का द नेक्स्ट एनिमी ऑफ इंटरनेट हिट लिस्ट इज राइस। राइस को बोला गया है कि ये भी हम लोगों को फैट करता है, या इट इज एनिमी ऑफ द डेस्क जॉब वर्कर्स। राइस इज inherently fattening? No, it is not। Science backed truth is rice is primarily a staple carbohydrate that supplies glucose that efficiently fuels your muscles and nerves during high function and high focus tasks। अगर राइस को, अगर आपको बोला गया है राइस मत खाइए, तो दिस इज रॉन्ग। राइस इज बेसिकली अ स्टेपल फूड, एंड वो जो कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स राइस से मिलता है वो हमारे मसल्स और नर्व्स को फ्यूल करते हैं, एंड नर्व्स आर दी cells of the body that help you in focusing and keeping your focus stable. So no, weight loss is नॉट ड्रिवन बाय एलिमिनेटिंग राइस। राइस को निकाल दोगे तो वेट लॉस होगा, ऐसा नहीं है। रादर अगेन, जैसे रोटी के बारे में मैंने बोला, गेहूं की रोटी के बारे में, उसी तरह से राइस के लिए भी, कि राइस को आपको कॉम्प्लीमेंट करना है फाइबर्स के साथ, प्रोटीन के साथ। प्रोटीन इज द फूड दैट प्रोवाइड्स ओनली लीन मसल मास टू योर बॉडी एंड इट कीप्स योर बॉडी सैटिएटेड फॉर लॉन्ग। इसके लिए राइस के साथ अगर आप प्रोटीन खाते हो, फाइबर खाते हो, तो बॉडी को इसको डाइजेस्ट करने को टाइम लगता है, तो ब्लड शुगर स्पाइक नहीं होता है, एनर्जी स्लोली रिलीज होती है और ग्राफ स्टेबल जाता है। नाउ पोटैटोज, अगेन पोटैटोज को भी इसी तरह से ब्लेम किया जाता है, आलू नहीं खाना चाहिए। नो, हेल्दी पोटैटोज आर रियली हेल्दी। अ मीडियम बिग पोटैटो, एक पोटैटो जो उबला हुआ या प्रेशर कुक किया हुआ आलू होता है, वो बनाना से ज्यादा भी पोटेशियम बॉडी को प्रोवाइड करता है। सो and it is a rich source of B6 and vitamin C. So the issue is not the potato. Potato खाने में बुराई नहीं है, but the process by how it is prepared, like deep frying, अगर आप फ्रेंच फ्राइज खा रहे हो या आप आलू की बनी हुई कोई डीप फ्राइड चीजें खा रहे हो, that is what is a matter of concern. So yes, potato is always healthy. The processes by which it is cooked matters. If it is cooked in a healthier way, आलू की सब्जी खा लो, no one is going to restrict you because it is healthy, but not the deep fried potato and deep fried potato foods. नाउ जब हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि आलू खा सकते हैं, राइस खा सकते हैं, काफी लोग फिर भी स्केप्टिकल होते हैं, शुड वी रियली ईट इट? सो देर इज अ मेजर गट हेल्थ हैक दैट आई एम शेयरिंग, दैट पोटैटोज और राइस को आपने अगर कल खाना है तो cook it today and place it into the fridge for overnight before eating or reheating. So this alters the chemical structure of both the potato and the rice and creates resistant starch. Resistant starch resists normal enzymatic action. So it travels straight to your large intestine, acts there as a gut friendly food and strengthens your digestion and your blood sugar does not spike. So basically अगर आप, जैसे मैंने बोला, फॉर बिजी डेस्क जॉब प्रोफेशनल्स ऑलरेडी प्री प्लानिंग इज नीडेड, सो दिस इज अ हैक फॉर यू पीपल. इफ यू आर प्लानिंग टू प्रिपेयर आलू और राइस फॉर द नेक्स्ट डे मॉर्निंग, place it in the fridge overnight, cook and place it in the fridge overnight, the prior night. This is because इसमें रेजिस्टेंस स्टार्च जो डेवलप होता है वो कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स का रिलीज और एब्जॉर्प्शन और ज्यादा स्लो कर देते हैं, आपका ब्लड शुगर और बैलेंस हो जाता है, एंड इंसुलिन स्पाइक्स नहीं होता है. सो इफ यू आर वरीड कि हमको आलू और राइस नहीं ही खाना है इतना जानने के बाद भी, तो दिस इज द हैक दैट यू कैन यूज. सो दिस सर्व्स योर पर्पस बोथ. यू कैन ईट इट, अगेन थोड़ा सा प्री प्रिपरेशन हो जाएगा. सो बिजी वर्क शेड्यूल जो होता है एंटायर वीक का, दैट विल मेक इट इजियर. सो दिस इज हाउ you can use your rice and potatoes. And finally, the dangerous trap of skipping dinner to lose weight. So when you go to bed on an empty stomach, your body does not work like a simple math equation. It goes into survival mode. Your brain perceives food shortage and it slows down your resting metabolic rate, conserving energy. So जब भी आप ये सोच के खाना नहीं खाते हो या डिनर स्किप करते हो कि मेरा वेट बढ़ रहा है, मैं अगर नहीं खाऊंगा तो वेट लॉस होगा, तो बॉडी का जो मैथमेटिक्स होता है, इट इज नॉट दैट सिंपल. रादर बॉडी गोज इनटू सर्वाइवल मोड, फ्यूल स्टोरेज मोड, एंड जो जितना मेटाबॉलिज्म बर्न होता है वो भी पूरा नहीं कर पाता है वो. So what happens is when your body goes into survival mode, instead of using glucose as the energy, your body starts breaking down your muscle tissue and starts using that as a part of energy, and this drops your blood sugar level. And अगर muscles break होता है तो your body's metabolism drops, you feel more fatigued, your health deteriorates day by day. So it is advised that yes, never to skip your dinners to lose weight, rather make your dinners light, balanced and sustainable with correct foods, so that that will help you manage your weight and still keep your dinner lighter. Yes. So this was what our gist of the today's session was, that आप अगर खा रहे हो तो जो भी खा रहे हो, there is nothing bad in eating wheat, rice, potatoes. आपको make sure करना है you cover all the food groups in moderation, pair it with correct foods, keep your energy stable, and this can be done in most shortcut way. As I said, preparing one pot meals for your breakfast, your dinner, more than half of your day is sorted. So this is how smart planning along with the knowledge of correct foods helps you execute your week in a planned manner, more sustainable manner, and easyfies your work for the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Monali Shah.
Yes.
Sao, do you want to take in the questions which are in chat box?
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a question that Shalaya has raised. Could you please suggest something to eat or drink at the workplace when we suddenly feel fatigued and need an immediate energy boost?
Okay. So, Shailaja, first and foremost, uh, hi. So, yes, definitely you can have something as a quick energy boost when you're at workplace. So, it can be your salted lassi with soaked chia seeds. It can be your sattu drink or sattu drink with coffee and chia seeds again in it. This can be had. But when you have balanced meals, आपका अगर morning से afternoon तक का meals body में properly जाता है balanced, as I said, your breakfast, your lunch, you will not feel need for energy, rather to sustain your body. So this is the thing you can go for, like or either even your chia seeds water along with flavored waters with cucumbers and all, this can also work for you wonderfully. And for the afternoon crash in your office desk, what you can do is you can store small jars. You can stack small jars with nuts and seeds mix. This will help you to manage your cravings and health both at a time.
Okay, I hope that's answered. Again, a second question is it advisable to have only 2 meals a day, described as Dikshit diet?
So, no, Dikshit, it is not advisable to have only 2 meals a day. Uh, at least 5 meals is what I mandate. So, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between something. And when you are an individual who is working for 12 long hours, your brain utilizes energy constantly. So, 2 meals is definitely not advisable. Even if you provide your meals pretty large enough, but that is not the case, because अगर आप आपका दोनों मील्स भी अगर लार्जर लेते हो तो it provides energy in one go, but you cannot keep your body starving for other long hours. So it is advisable आप 5 meals लो, पोर्शन में लो, मॉडरेशन में लो. एट ए टाइम आप एक मील लेते हो, 2 to 3 hours बॉडी को डाइजेशन को दो. इन बिटवीन आप कुछ भी मत खाइए. अगेन then again you go for the next meal. So this is how your body works. You have to give your body to time to digest, and it is not advisable to overeat for at a single stance. So when you're eating, it is always advisable you eat 80% of your hunger. If you're still hungry, rest 20% of your hunger should be satiated with soups, salads, and veggies, and not the carb based part. So everything should come in moderation and in proportion.
I hope that's answered. Again, a question is for vegetarians. Please list the food for proteins. What could be the typical breakfast items other than poha, paratha, or upma?
So for vegetarians, apart from poha, paratha or upma, you can have is besan chila or dal chilas, which should be again loaded with veggies and paneer. The other is oatmeal bowl, overnight oats or smoothies. So these are the quick fix breakfast that can help you to get your work done. Preparation only in 5 minutes. At the same time, the vegetarian list for proteins is you can have paneer, you can have tofu, tempeh, curd, yogurt, soya chunks. Soya is an excellent source again. If you are looking for managing weight and still getting lean muscle mass, to yogurt, tofu, and tempeh, they run low on calories but higher in proteins. So these are the advisable protein sources. The other protein sources are sattu, which is a chickpea powder, very high in protein. This can be added to your buttermilk and consumed in your morning mid-meal. So in between your breakfast and lunch. Again, yes, the dal chilas, the lentils, and the sprouts.
Right. I can see another question, which is, shall we have a black coffee or a sugared coffee? It's not a question actually. You should always have black coffee, which is more suggestible.
Yes, yes. Coffee is not a problem. Black coffee हो या आप milk based coffee लो, coffee is okay, but it is advisable to make sure कि आप coffee maximum up to 5 p.m. लीजिए. उसके बाद coffee is not advisable because it acts as a stimulant. अगर आप ज्यादा लेट लेते हो तो it then disturbs your sleep and entire cycle gets disturbed. तो even sleep deprivation is a cause of magnesium deficiency and ये सब कुछ फिर विशियस साइकिल में एंटर होता है एंड यू एंड अप एक्सपीरियंसिंग symptoms going worse.
Yeah, and it is definitely advisable.
Yes.
As much as you can abort sugar, you can in your life, you can just abort.
Yes, sugar has to be definitely avoided as far as possible.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I hope all your questions are answered.
South, there are certain other questions. If you want, I can ask them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not-
yeah, sure, continue.
So first is you answered for coffee. Someone is asking, is it same for tea? Like tea without sugar and the consumption and quantity of tea that they can have?
Yeah. So for tea or coffee, you can have a medium mug twice a day maximum, not more than that. Again, sugar, yes, try to cut off sugar totally if possible. If not, at least reduce it to 1/3 of what you have. Again, sugar substitutes if you ask for. So there are no basically sugar substitutes, but the 0-calorie sweeteners are definitely advisable, like the sugar-free products or the monk fruit sugar or stevia. Those are fine.
If we take fast in one day of week, then how to plan for meal?
If you're fasting for a day,
In-
is the person asking fasting diet, or is he asking how to restart after the day you fast?
Hitesh, can you clarify what your question is? Till then, we can move to another question. Can sattu be drank or taken at night time?
Can
Sattu be taken at night time?
Sattu can be taken at night time, but it has a tendency to cause constipations. So provide it's better to take in the either in the breakfast or in the lunch, along with again veggies and fibers, which should be loaded. Otherwise, you might end up experiencing constipation. So not at night, basically.
Okay. What should be the water intake in one day? The ideal water intake?
Ideally, for an individual, 2.5 to 3 liters of water is advisable. And what you can do is being busy, we don't track our water intake. So, what you all can do is pre-fill your 1 liter bottles, 3 bottles, and sip that too only for yourself. And entire day